Welcome back. In our second portion of our program today, we're welcoming Janet Smith, the Director of Resident Life.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Glad to be here.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yes,
soon.
right. Coming right up. You have a couple of announcements, I think, that we want to talk about first.
Resident Life announcements. On December 5, I want to remind everyone that the Holiday Bazaar will be occurring. In
That's right.
Hunters Crossing
Come over
Conference Room.
and shop.
We have about 50 vendors, so there should be plenty for people to buy. Then on the 7th, Santa's Workshop will be held so that resident grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and staff children can come and get their pictures with Santa.
And as I understand it, I forget who I was talking to yesterday, they said they still have openings to add more children. So if you have grandchildren or great-grandchildren who might like to come that day and meet Santa, call
Janelle?
Yeah, any one of our community resources people
She's
can
heading
help you.
that one up.
Janelle Cesari. She can help you.
So that should be a fun day. And then on the 20th, we have the ever-popular Ugly Sweater Day.
Yes, right.
So you can rock your ugly sweater.
Get your ugly sweater out.
There'll be photo booths in Village Square and Hunter Crossing lobbies. And
so you can have your picture taken in your ugly sweater.
Yeah.
And have more made for Christmas cards.
Exactly.
There you go.
We'll be putting it up on the
Good.
scroll.
So, but there will be a formal contest?
There's no contest, but
Okay.
you can get your picture taken in the photo booth.
There you go. That's fun.
Yeah. And Brad wanted me to let everybody know there are no fitness classes at the South Run Rec Center on Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving Day.
So we won't be running buses those days.
There will be no swimming on Thanksgiving.
Okay, right.
And on Christmas and New Year's Day, they're closed as well.
Okay, plan ahead.
So those were and then the last thing is the Staff Appreciation Fund campaign.
How are we coming?
We exceeded our goal. It's
Yes.
over. Yes.
Wonderful.
And thanks again to everybody that contributed. We will be distributing the checks on December 11th to the staff at their town hall meetings.
Okay.
So it'll be going on all day so that
Okay.
everybody can come to a meeting and get their check.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm just really thrilled because the last I heard it was like, oh, we have a long way to go. But people came forward.
They did. Very generous.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Good news. Okay.
So that concludes the announcements.
So we want to talk about embracing wellness.
Yes.
And it's been an Erickson initiative for the last 6 months. At least, and now we're going in, there's 7 parts of wellness.
Yeah, 7 dimensions.
Physical, intellectual, social, emotional, occupational, and this next month we're introducing spiritual.
dimension.
If you've missed any of the information about any of these, you can go to My Erickson, and there's a special icon just for embracing wellness, and you'll find information and videos about each one of these. It's very, very nicely done. So this month we're talking about spiritual.
We are. And I had a PowerPoint presentation that I wanted to just hit the highlights of.
Okay, good.
So you see it here, the dimensions of wellness, spiritual wellness. The first slide talks about in 1981 when John Erickson, who founded Erickson, began to remodel the former St. Charles College into the first retirement community, Charlestown. And you see it here on the screen. His vision was innovative for its time, and actually it still is.
I had never seen that campus before. I was interested to see that slide.
Yeah, that's where our corporate headquarters are.
Oh, okay.
Among other things, the first ever Erickson Living Community would have on-site physicians, refundable deposit, and resident-driven activities, which we still enjoy now.
Which was a good idea all that time ago.
Yes, and equally innovative, it would be a organization that was not denominationally linked. So it was secular, not owned by any religious body, and no denominational test for anyone to come and be a part of it.
Good.
So as such, there was tremendous freedom and creativity for people to explore their spiritual side in a variety of ways. The next slide takes us somewhat into the spiritual realm of thinking about, as we get older, we don't necessarily become busier in our spiritual practice, but in fact more contemplative. with prayer, meditation, reading, that kind of thing.
And the important part of this is that we're not just talking about Christianity. As you said, no specific religion. We have many different religions here on campus.
Right.
And all welcome.
Yeah, many ways to find your spiritual center. It doesn't have to
Right.
be within the four walls of a chapel
Right.
or a synagogue or
Right.
anything like that.
We looked up while we were getting ready this morning, we looked up what was the meaning of spiritual. What did it mean? It doesn't mention Christianity at all. It just means what spiritually may mean something to you.
Exactly, the spirit within us.
Right.
So there are two factors that have been cited about studying the impact of faith on longevity. There does seem to be a link between having a spiritual focus in your life and living longer. And those two factors are deep spirituality and the power of community. So it's thought that the more we get involved in the community, the better our chances are for longevity to increase.
You know, someone sent me something on Facebook this morning that now, thinking back, I wish I'd saved it. But it was along the lines of, because when some people hear spirituality, they think, well, somebody's going to proselytize to me about whatever their religion is.
Right.
And this email said something to the tune of, it wasn't exactly like this, don't talk to me about your religion, talk to me about how you help other people. Don't talk to me about this about your religion, talk to me about how you work with children. It was several.
That's perfect.
It was more about living your spirituality. It didn't focus on any particular religion.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was very good. I'm sorry I didn't print it.
It is the fact that across the Erickson enterprise, about 10% of all of the activities are spiritual in nature.
Spiritual based. That's
and
interesting.
I believe it's even higher here at Green Spring because of all of our faith.
We have a lot of very
communities.
active faith groups.
We do. So it's higher here. Two people may have exactly the same take on all of this, but may demonstrate it differently, as you said.
Yes. And I had an interesting, as we talk about different faiths, about 30 years ago we were in Sudan in Africa, and of course many people there are a lot of Christians there also, but many people there are Muslim. And one time I was talking with a contact my husband had in the army, and he said to me, you know, we Muslims and you Christians are just not all that different. He said, we all believe everything up to this point, and we think Jesus was a really good guy. It's just that we discovered this guy named Muhammad after him, and we kind of like him a little better. And I thought, what a wonderfully simple way to say that.
Yeah.
That we all pretty much believe the same thing with just slight differences.
Yeah, neutrality. So rounding up the end of that slide, overall we want to build relationships with everyone who lives or works in our community. Some may have religious preferences, some may behave a certain way, some may believe in explicit doctrine, others may be more open to broader concepts. But we must not see any person as an abstraction. Instead, every person is a universe with its own secrets.
Oh, that's deep.
With its own treasures, with its own source of anguish. We all have that.
Sure.
And with some measure of triumph. I like that.
Yeah, that's good. I like that too.
So just a couple more slides here. Learning the spirituality of optimism. I try to follow the wisdom of one of my mentors, Chuck Swindoll.
I know that name.
Everybody's heard this one. Life is 90% attitude, 10% what happens to us, and 90% how we react to it.
That's right.
So I try to tell my children that, who are now young adults, my spouse, the employees that work with me. I mean, it's so true, and it drives you toward a much more successful outcome.
There was something I saw the other day that said that a minute of being angry hurts your immune system for some period of time, but a minute of being happy and laughing does wonderful things for your immune system.
Yeah, we talked about stress in one of the other dimensions of wellness, and it's very damaging on the system.
Right. And I'm like you, I always try to be optimistic with all of the building that we have going on. And I'm real good at standing with the window and looking out and enjoying all the big equipment. And people will come around and, oh, it's such a mess and such. So I just take the other side of it and say, isn't it wonderful? And they're kind of like, oh, she's optimistic. What a strange thing. People get so tied up in complaining that they have trouble turning that off.
Yes.
But this is where your spirituality can say, hey, be a little more optimistic.
Yeah, and it really helps you health-wise and
Right.
aging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's contagious. You know, both can be contagious, pessimism and optimism.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I vote for optimism.
I vote for optimism too. I used to tell my mother, who went through a period several years before she died, of just, if the sun's shining, the crops are going to die because there's no rain. If it's raining, the crops are going to be flooded. So I got to the point of, I said, Mother, I'm not going to listen to that till you tell me 3 optimistic things, just to try to get her turned around. It didn't always work, but I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it can be hard as you age if you have a lot of physical frailty and
Right.
issues. To see the bright side sometimes.
But I think another side of it too is among the things that you can volunteer for on this campus are spiritual groups. And I'm a firm believer that if you're working with helping someone else or being involved in a group doing something else, your aches and pains are going to go away. Even if it's playing bingo, you're not going to think about the fact that your knees hurt.
Absolutely.
Right.
Research has been done about the 24 factors that help build optimism and happiness. And some of the questions about this are, do you have strong and coherent beliefs about the higher purpose of life? Do you know where you fit in the larger scheme? Does life have meaning for you by virtue of attachment to something larger than you are? So
that's important.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of that distraction idea that you're not always focused on yourself and your inward anguish.
In other words, it's not about me.
Not always.
Yeah, right. Think about other people. We have just 1 minute left.
Okay. Another great quote from a Croatian biblical scholar named Peter Kuzmic: "Hope is the ability to hear the music coming of the future. Faith is the courage to dance to that music today."
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's wonderful. Well, we will look forward to accessing more about spiritual health, wellness on My Erickson. If you aren't signed up for My Erickson yet, you can contact Nahid in the dining services office, and she will be able to help you get hooked up so you can enjoy all the wonderful information there.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming today and introducing us to this.
Thank you.
And we'll think about it more seriously.